Hey Menowars, welcome back to my channel, and today I am talking about menopause, obviously, but how the loss of a matriarchal figure can affect us. During the menopause, I think it's fair to say that our hormones are running wild, and it's easy to feel real extremes of sadness and anxiety and just complete bull I won't say bouleversé, it's a French word, I can't think of the word in English at the moment, like my head is completely frazzled, but emotions that really bowl you over and just completely rip the rug out from under your feet. With the loss of the Queen, whether you're a royalist or not, I think it's fair to say, she's been part of all of our lives for so long, and we've seen her aging, and we've been such a part of the development and the continuity of the royal family and the evolution of the royal family, that even though we saw her getting more frail and obviously older, it's still a real shock when that day finally arrives. And on September the 8th, when we all heard that terrible news, it has had a really big impact on so many of us. She's just been such a large part of our life in Britain and around the world. And I think we're all grieving on several levels. We're grieving her loss. Partly I'm grieving the fact that I had no appreciation. I knew she had a sense of humor. I've never met her personally. I've seen her but never met her. And I think since her death, we've been able to understand so much about the softer sides of her, the more family sides, the funny sides of her. And I wish really we'd been privy to that kind of information beforehand, because I feel like we're we're discovering somebody who we knew was special, but actually since her death she's become even more special because of the things we've been learning about her ever since. And whether it's the Queen that you're mourning or just an important figure in your life, a matriarchal figure, it can really give us a wide mix of emotions. It can make you feel helpless, it can make you feel uncertain for the future, it can make you feel lonely, and it can also be really surprising sometimes to grieve somebody so deeply that you never even knew. It can feel like you almost don't have the right to be upset, but there are so many reasons why so many of us do feel her loss so deeply. And I just want to sort of help you understand why that might be, and also give you some sort of proactive tips to help you get through it. This isn't going to be about, get on and live life. It's very much about embracing this process. I think we're incredibly lucky that we have the media, and we're able to be part and privy of, well, the last few days. It's been remarkable. I'm lucky enough to work from home, and I have two monitors. So I have my work stuff on one monitor, and I have the BBC News Live continuously on the other monitor. So I really feel like I've been able to be part and parcel of it. And for me, that's really helped. I know there's some people out there, there's always going to be the critics, there's always going to be the anti-royalists, the anti-monarchists. I just feel very strongly that this is something I wanted to talk about today. Also because I have a very important matriarchal figure in my life, and when we eventually lose her, it'll be really, really hard. I know a lot of people who've already lost their mothers or grandmothers or significant women in their lives, and it has a very, very discombobulating effect. So the loss of the Queen may be reminding you of losses that you've incurred. It can be a trigger. It can really, you don't expect anything to hit you this hard, and then all of a sudden it opens the door to so many emotions that you may have kept back. I really believe that over time we've become much better at expressing our emotions. It's more socially acceptable to cry in public, to share our emotions. A lot of people are still stifling their emotions. I've seen people in the queues saying sorry for crying. It's just like, why should we even feel sorry for crying? It's a natural part of the grieving process, and for us to feel ashamed of showing that emotion, I think is a sad testament to how society is. However, I really also believe that with the media coverage and so many people talking about it and sharing their experiences of it, particularly on social media, it really gives you a platform to share your own interpretation of what the grief for or the loss of the Queen could mean to you. She's been part of the public landscape for so long, and for her not to be around any longer can make the world feel a less safe space. It can make you feel more vulnerable. She, I think, is probably the most famous woman that will ever live. Her reign has been remarkable, and the way the family has evolved and changed over the years and become more modernized and more accountable. I mean, I'm not going to go into the monarchy, anti-monarchy argument at all. I'm talking very much about grief today, but we've been witness to this evolution, and I think that helps us feel more of an identification with that family and with the loss as we're all feeling right now. You may also be feeling anger. You know, a lot of people lost loved ones during COVID. You might be angry that there's been this expression of national global mourning for somebody who was loved so much, yet you didn't have that national. We want the world to stop, don't we? When we've lost loved ones in our family, you just want to shout out, stop. You want the clocks to stop. You want time to stop. You just want everything to be held in that cocoon of that moment of, you don't want things to go on anymore. It seems unfair that life continues. And while personally, I think the outpouring, this whole process has been amazing, because the world has sort of stopped for this. We've got a bank holiday day today. We're allowed to be part and parcel of the service and the funeral and the watching everything on the news. But you may not have had, well, it's rare. Nobody has that opportunity when we lose a loved one. And so you might actually be feeling angry. And again, it's a completely normal reaction to have. Any feeling that you have right now is completely natural. And it's really important that you don't compare your expression of grief to somebody else's, because we all grieve differently. We all have different upbringings. We all have different, what we think in our minds is expectations of how we should present ourselves. And it really can feel like we're losing the glue that held everything together. So, you know, when you lose a matriarchal figure, you are really losing that glue, where you've already always had that person that's had almost like the final say. You've had the person that you've always gone to for advice. You've had the person that you knew that no matter what happened in your life, she would be there to comfort you and support you. That real sense of unconditional love and that real sense of unconditional support. And it can be really gut-wrenching when you no longer have that. You might be left with the role of supporting younger members of your family, or indeed older members of your family. Well, when we're hitting the menopause, generally our parents are aging, if we're lucky enough to still have them. And it can make you feel very vulnerable. It can really give you a sense of, oh my goodness, you know, this might happen to me relatively soon as well. And it can bring up all sorts of different emotions and fears and uncertainties about what might happen. So I would say the most important thing is to talk to other people who are feeling the same way as you are. Look for places where people are sharing their feelings openly. I know there's books of condolence that are being, you know, where you can write your messages to the Queen or to the royal family if you want to. But, you know, whether it's the Queen or your own Queen, you know, your own matriarch, whoever your Queen might be, just know that you can talk to people who have a similar belief to you, because not everybody will. There's always going to be differing opinions. Not everybody will understand how you feel. Not everybody's going to want to accompany you on that journey of grief. Don't ever feel that you have to put on a brave face. Everyone who loved the person who's passed away is experiencing something challenging, and it can take time to be able to even talk about it and to even go near to your feelings of grief when they're so massive and so I want to say that bouleversé word again. I can't think of the English word. I mean, how ridiculous is that? But my brain has been completely frazzled as well. And if you're having, I think a lot of people don't know how to talk to you when you do lose somebody important. I know when my dad died, people skirt around the conversation, and it's only because it's not because they don't want to talk. I think it's because people are afraid of offending you or saying the wrong thing. And it's up to us really to allow them to talk. And it's only by talking about our loved ones that we've lost that we keep them alive. We keep them alive in our memories, but we bring them to the forefront when we talk about them. And sometimes if you're talking about them and it makes you cry, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's an expression. Grief proves that you loved somebody just so much. If you weren't grieving, you wouldn't have loved them that much. And it's an honor that you have that, that you can carry that badge. I always say I sit with my dad on my shoulder. I have his shadow here. He always comes with me everywhere. Wherever he is, he's always here too. And I'm quite happy to carry his grief with me. I don't want to get over his death fully. I feel I can live a functional life. I get on with my life. I can still cry at a drop of a hat about my dad. But I carry him here, and he's always here, metaphorically, and I feel spiritually as well. And we all have to work out our own way of keeping that memory alive, because that's the only way we can keep them alive. So take time to think about your own memories of the Queen today. Have a think about what she meant to you. If you're not a monarchist and you've lost your matriarch and your own queen, then make sure you're talking to people who understand how you feel, or understand as closely as they can how you feel. And if you feel that they're not able to have that conversation with you, you start it. I think one of the worst things that we can do is hold it against, judge other people for not being there to support us. They're not mind readers, and sometimes we need to open that door so that we can be supported. Death has all sorts of different emotions around it, and it can be a difficult experience for those close to us who are not immediately grieving. So it's down to us sometimes to allow them to grieve alongside of us, and sometimes we might have to open that door to allow them access. So stop the clocks indeed. Make it a good day. Sorry, I tried to hold it back, and talk to you soon.